Hello everyone, SquaredCircle Wrestling is back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the latest news and rumors from the world of pro wrestling, which includes Jon Moxley blasts back at CM Punk and AEW, former US champion returning back to WWE, are Bella Twins AEW bound? Tony Khan discusses Kenny Omega's AEW future, is Vince McMahon secretly running AEW, and much more. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel SquaredCircle Wrestling for all the latest updates. Our top story for today looks at Jon Moxley blasts back at CM Punk and AEW. Jon Moxley has responded to CM Punk's Instagram post in a new episode of Renee Paquette's The Sessions. Renee asked Moxley if he can address the Punk situation. Moxley responded, "No, cause nothing has unfolded. It's effing annoying. Just cause somebody said some stupid shit on social media, like, that's not news. But it is, and it ends up being a thing. I don't want to get dragged into this dumb shit. I could effing unload on a lot of effing people right now. And when I start getting dragged into this, it tempts me to do that, but I'm not gonna effing sink to that level." Continuing, Moxley noted that he was effectively working for AEW as a free agent prior to signing a new deal last year. "I will say this, I'm just gonna give you like a tidbit of information from my point of view. The entire summer I was not under contract. No contract. Free agent. I was at SummerSlam weekend wrestling Desperado and shit the day of SummerSlam. Effing suplexed him on a bunch of aluminum cans and shit. Cut in half. It was effing dope. I could have walked into SS that night with the AEW effing belt if I had been so inclined. Nobody knew that because I don't put my shit out there in the world and let everybody know every effing thing about my business, you know. I was not under contract." Later, when Paquette invited her husband to unload his frustrations, Moxley concluded, regrettably, that AEW is the most drama-filled pro wrestling environment he has ever been part of. "I will say this, and I hate to say, I don't think I've ever said anything even remotely negative about AEW. But I will say this, as an observer, it seems like, I spent 8 years on the indies, a couple years in WWE developmental, spent like 8 years in WWE. I have never seen so much bullshit drama in one place in my entire effing life. I hate to say that, but it's like, I don't know if it's because of the age of social media, shit gets blown out of proportion. One person types on stupid effing drunk tweet and all of a sudden it's all anyone wants to talk about." Former US champion returning back to WWE. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder during his time in WWE, was released by the company back in 2020. Thereafter he went on to achieve greater success outside the organization. During an interview with Wrestling Inc., the former Zack Ryder stated that he believes he will return to WWE eventually in the future. "So when I got released from WWE, ever since that day, my goal has not been, oh, what can I do to go back? What do I need to do to impress people to get back there? No, that's not my goal. But I'd be lying if I said I never wanted to wrestle at Madison Square Garden again, or I never wanted to have a WrestleMania moment again. Of course I do. So will Matt Cardona ever go home? I think eventually, but not as Zack Ryder, because Zack Ryder is dead." Would you like to see Matt Cardona back in WWE? Let us know in the comments below. Are Bella Twins AEW bound? Another sign that Bella Twins are AEW bound was a backstage reunion between Sarah, Renee Paquette and the Bella Twins. Was that a simple get-together or a sign that Brie and Nikki are AEW bound? Sarah tweeted several photos of their backstage reunion, while wrestlers from other promotions show up backstage on several occasions. Wrestling News Paul Davis stated, "Nikki has been very vocal about WWE in recent weeks, especially about the lack of women wrestling honored at the Raw 30th anniversary show in January. With that in mind, it would not be a shock to see one or both women work for AEW one day. The Bellas would definitely fit in well with the AEW storyline of female outsiders taking on AEW originals and would catch a lot of fan attention. Would you like to see twin magic in AEW? Let us know in the comments below." Tony Khan discusses Kenny Omega's AEW future. Tony Khan was asked about Kenny Omega's future in AEW. Khan stated, "I think Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in AEW history. He's one of the most decorated wrestlers." Tony praised the cleaner for his many accomplishments, including his many title wins, and added, "Kenny Omega can do anything he sets his mind to. He's one of the best stars in the world, and I hope he's here for a very long time." With the WWE said to be extremely eager to sign Omega, 2023 could be a big year for free agency as the Bucks AEW deals are believed to be over this year. Next up, WWE could reportedly have a massive first-time ever match in store for John Cena at SummerSlam 2023. John Cena might not have much time left in WWE as he is busy shooting films and television series throughout the year. According to a new report, the company could have some major plans for the leader of the Cenation in the summer of 2023 as he could possibly face Logan Paul. Earlier this month, John Cena returned to WWE but was quickly interrupted by Austin Theory, who issued him a challenge for WrestleMania 39 for the United States Championship. The leader of Cenation accepted the challenge and vowed to humble the rising star. Before the match between the two was set in stone, there were other plans for the 16-time world champion. according to WrestleVotes via Give Me Sport. The long-rumored plan for John Cena versus Logan Paul could happen in the coming months and possibly at SummerSlam. Logan loved the idea and Cena was totally down it. They'd have made mega money and it's just a matter of when. They want to tell a good story because they're megastars, so there's got to be a reason. The matches is very much on the table, even at a SummerSlam. All parties involved want to do it. Would you like to see the leader of Cination battling Logan Paul at SummerSlam? Let us know in the comments below. Next up, is Vince McMahon secretly running AEW? A former WWE official believes Vince McMahon is secretly operating AEW. Vince McMahon has his own way of getting things done. Speaking on an edition of Monday Mailbag, former WCW and WWE referee Nick Patrick shed light on a conspiracy theory. According to him, Vince McMahon has his hands in AEW operations. Patrick noted that even if Vince isn't running AEW, he is privy to what's going on inside the system. He also emphasized Vince McMahon's way of taking control of things. I'm one of those old conspiracy theory guys. I always think Vince McMahon is sitting behind every damn thing. And I'm usually right. I'm just a conspiracy theory guy. He may not be running the thing, but he knows everything that's going on and there are other ways to control them. Nick also added that he believes that the rivalry between the two companies is a work. He compared the WWE and AEW rivalry with the WWE and WCW Invasion storyline. Nick stated that people didn't put stock into the Invasion angle as it was obvious that McMahon was in control after the acquisition. But with AEW, McMahon is succeeding in making it seem believable as it's two separate promotions. Patrick said, with this deal, at least they got separate companies and they keep the appearance of separate companies and separate owners. If they're going to control it, that's the way to do it. Next up, former WWE star says his sex addiction made him lose focus on his career. Former WWE superstar and Raw general manager Brad Maddox recently opened up about having a sex addiction and losing focus as a result. Brad Maddox was a WWE mainstay for about 7 years, from 2008 to 15. He is well known for his brief stint as a Raw general manager. During his stint, he also had run-ins with The Authority and Kane. Maddox recently made an appearance on Wrestling with Rip Rogers, where he revealed that he had a sex addiction which resulted in him losing focus on his WWE career. That was one of those stories where they just kind of lost their way. I got caught up in some things. Now, I'm sure you know the news. It's fairly old at this point, right? Yeah, some stuff leaks, but it was kind of that time period. So, I had an addiction. Then that cascaded into a sex addiction, and that was a whole thing for me. That was just very mind-consuming. He added that he wasn't very focused and couldn't take advantage of the opportunities presented to him. So I wasn't very focused, right at the time when I should have been. And then I'm going up there as a referee, and I'm having to carry a walkie-talkie around, and my ego was just too big. I didn't fully take advantage of the opportunities. Next up, Chris Jericho credits young WWE and AEW talent with helping him avoid Seniors Tour. Chris Jericho has surrounded himself with young and upcoming talents over the past few years in AEW, a conscious decision on his part that has garnered him the reputation of a clout vampire. In a recent interview with At Canada, Jericho was asked if he'd picked up one lesson from any of the younger talents he's worked with. I don't want to single out just one wrestler. When I came back to WWE in 2016, I had no interest in working with Shawn Michaels or Triple H because I had done that already. I didn't want Chris Jericho to turn into like a Seniors Tour. I thought it would be really smart to work with younger guys, so they get the rub from me. And in return, I get the rub from them. That's why I had a run where I worked with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, all the guys who are on top now but were bubbling under the surface at the time. But working with me helped them get to the next step. Plus, it helped me learn the old dog and new tricks analogy. A lot of guys say, in the 1990s we never did this. Guess what? Those days are gone. It's 2023, and you have to wrestle the style people want to see now but also incorporate the experience you have. Next up, Backstage news on AEW contracts and non-compete clauses. It was reported earlier this year that the pro wrestling industry, mainly WWE and AEW, may be impacted by a rule proposed by the United States government, which would do away with non-compete clauses. In an update, a new report from Fightful Select notes that the proposed FTC rule may not affect AEW at all. It was noted that there are no non-compete clauses attached to many of the contracts in AEW. The clauses are standard in WWE deals, with main roster non-competes lasting for 90 days, and most WWE NXT non-competes going for 30 days. It now appears that AEW has none at all. When asked about AEW's lack of non-competes, a source noted that the company generally doesn't release talent anyway, unless there's a special request or a disciplinary action, so they necessarily have not had to implement the clauses. A non-compete would generally just extend the life of the contract ending, but must be agreed upon by the talent. It was also said that in AEW, things are done on a case-by-case basis for the most part. For example, AEW sources believe that if CM Punk were to be released from his deal early, it would be on the condition he not compete in WWE for a period of time. Next up, The Undertaker offered new role by WWE. Speaking to Ariel Helwani for BT Sport, The Undertaker revealed that WWE has offered him the chance to pass on his decades of experience to a new generation as a coach, but he isn't quite ready for that. I've been approached about doing it. My deal is trying to take what I did in my era and applying it to where the product is now. It's tough. It's tough for me. I'm still coming to grips with not being in the ring, too. It's tough for me. Even the other night, I have to say, man, I was in the ring, man. I'm feeling pretty good. The Undertaker added that despite how he feels, he doesn't think he'll ever compete in the ring again and says he does not want to become a parody of himself. I don't think so. No. I guess you never say never. I don't really have any aspirations to get back in the ring. I would love to be able to. I mean, in my mind and in my heart, there's nothing I'd rather do, really. Physically, I can't deliver what I think people need or what people would expect from me, and I have this conversation a lot of times. But you know, all you'd have to do is go out, chokeslam somebody and roll your eyes, and I'm like, I can't do it that way. I can't live off the equity that I've built up over 20-30 years. My legacy means something to me. I tell people that if I'm on TV, I'm taking time away from somebody else that's going to be on the road and is going to be relevant 5-10 years down the road. I just can't do it. I can't physically give people what they expect when they see Undertaker's name on the page, so I don't want to become a parody of myself. And finally, Bully Ray says popular AEW star would be better off going away to save his career. Bully Ray says that a top AEW star may have to step away for some time to rehabilitate his character in the promotion. Wardlow, who only recently returned to AEW programming, lost the TNT Championship on the latest edition of Dynamite, mere days after winning the title from Samoa Joe at Revolution 2023. At one point, Wardlow could have been positioned as the face of the company. Now, his stock has faded and the former Pinnacle member seems worlds away from being a top star. Speaking on the Busted Open podcast, Bully Ray said that time away from AEW may be what's best for Mr. Mayhem. Unfortunately, going away is the only answer, and it's an absolute horrible answer to have to deal with. This guy just came back, talked about his father passing away, cut his hair, yada yada. According to the WWE and ECW legend, Wardlow's momentum has promptly halted due to bad booking, despite previously being one of the most popular stars in the company. And that is all for today's news. Thank you for watching till end.